This video is going to be an overview of creating and editing markups on the map in MapWashtenaw. You can find these tools under Markup, the second tab in the toolbar. The measurement tools are on the left. These will create markups with labeled dimensions. To measure distance, select the Distance tool and click to start your line. You can see that it will automatically update the distance label while you hover. Click to create a corner and double-click to eventually finish your distance measurement. To measure area, use the Area tool. This will need at least 3 corners. Double-click to finish the shape, and then you get labels for area as well as perimeter of the shape. You can change the measurement units by clicking on the Units tool and changing the values here in the drop-downs. So for example, I could change distance to measure miles and area units to measure square miles. This will automatically update the shapes we already have on the map. If you want to see your measurements without their labels, you can toggle them on and off with the Show and Hide Labels button. Now let's just draw a regular markup without the dimension labels. Click Draw Markup in the toolbar. It has a small black triangle in the bottom right corner, so we know that there are more tools behind it. The Line tool is just like the Distance tool. Click to start it and double-click to finish. The Polygon tool is like the Area tool. You'll need at least 3 corners and double-click to finish. The Circle tool will draw a perfect circle. And the Rectangle tool will draw a square or rectangle with 90-degree corners. Point will just drop a point on your map. If you want to draw another one, go back and click on the tool. Text will allow you to annotate the map. Click on the Text button, and then you can either enter in the latitude and longitude you want it to display at, or you can just select on the map. So if I select on the map, now I have a little crosshair. If I click here and then type in my note and click Done, I will now have a note on the map. Please note there's currently not a way to hide this anchor point. If you create text near other features, so let's say select on the map and I'm placing it near these parcels, you can copy text from nearby features. So for example, I could automatically input the latitude and longitude in the note, or from the nearby features, I can grab the nearest pin. Click Done, and now that's my note on the map. You can also create text markup on the map by just right-clicking on the map, selecting the option to add a location note, and then typing in your note. If you right-click near text markup, you can also select the Edit Location note. Now, a couple tips while you're drawing markup. If you hold the space bar while you're drawing, so here I'll start my shape, and now normally a click is going to drop another corner. If I hold the space bar, I'm able to pan the map without dropping a corner. So you can change your view and then let go of the space bar to continue drawing your shape. If you want to trace something like a parcel, you can turn on the Snapping tool. So if I go back here, turn Snapping on. Now that I have Snapping enabled, I'm going to go back to Draw Markup, click the Polygon tool, and now my cursor is a snapping cursor. You can see it helps me make sure I'm snapping to the parcel lines. You can use this to trace parcels, but an easier way would be to convert the feature to markup. Either you can use the Identify tool, or if it's a parcel, you can just click on it. You want to get into the Feature Details panel, and one of the actions here is convert the feature to markup. So if I click on that, and then I close out of the feature details, you can see it's still on the map because now it's markup. Now I have all this markup on my map. Let's learn how to edit it. So if I go back to the Markup tab in the toolbar, we have a menu here for editing the markup. So if I click on that, you have special tools for editing text, a tool for general editing of markup, a button to delete all the markup at once, so I'm not going to click that for now, and then you have 2 options to change the style of either lines and polygons or points. If you change the style here, it's going to change all the future markup you make of these types. So for now, I'm going to click on Edit Markup, and I can select the shapes. While I have the shape selected, this editing panel appears on the left. I can click Delete here to just delete certain shapes at a time. If I click on the Edit Markup tool again, and I'll select this other shape, you can change the existing shape by using the white points here. Now notice you can see my snapping cursor still on. If that's distracting, make sure you go back and turn snapping off. Sorry, I'm going to go back and edit this polygon. You can rotate it with the top circle here. You can scale it with the squares at the corners. And when you're all done, just click Complete to save your change. Also in this menu, you can change the style. So if I click on that, it's going to allow me to change the outline color as well as the fill color. So let's change it to something pretty different. The second bar down here is the transparency slider. So if I slide it all the way to the right, it's going to be opaque. If I move it further to the left, it's going to be more transparent so we can see other features or perhaps the aerial if that was turned on behind it. I'll click OK and then Complete to save. Now, if we want to edit this text, it's going to require its own tools. So if I want to move it, I can use the Move Text button, click on the anchor point, and then you can move it around the map. When you're done, just click Complete. If I want to change what the text says, I can use Edit Text, and I'll draw a box here to make sure I select it, and you can change it right in here. You also have the option to change the symbology while you're in there. If you expand display options, then we can change the color or halo, the font size, or if there's any decorations on it. If you want to edit point markup, let me find the ones I dropped over here. Go into Edit Markup, use the Edit Markup tool, and I would recommend drawing a square, click holding and dragging to select the points because sometimes they can be tricky to click on. So I know it's selected when I have that green boundary around it, and I can go into Style here to edit it. Please note the point styles don't have as many options as the old MapWashtenaw does. For now, we just have a few different shapes that we can use. So I will make the marker size larger so it's easier to see. So you can see some of these. You can also see it in the little preview here at the top of the panel. So I'll click OK and then Complete when I'm done. If you're happy with your markups and you want to keep them, you can either create a picture of them, which will be covered in the printing video. You can export the markups themselves, or you can save them in a project. To export the markups themselves into a GIS file format, go to the Tools menu, Save, and then you can export markup to a shapefile. This will download a zip file of your markup. If you come back to MapWashtenaw another day, so I'll just refresh the page to completely clear it, you can re-import this shapefile. So if I go to Open, and I'll just do the quick add layer from File, I'll upload my results, click OK, and now I have markup from a previous day in my map. Note, this is bringing the features in as GIS features, so if you go to the layer list, you can see the points, lines, and polygons that you've imported. These are no longer markup, so you can't use the editing markup tools on them. But this is great if you want to use this markup in GIS software. You do still have a little bit of an ability to edit the style of this layer if you don't want the bright orange. You can click on the three-dot menu here next to the layer, and you can adjust the layer style. You'll only be able to adjust the style for all of the features at once. You can't change them for individual features. So the last way you can save your markups is to export them in a project. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh my map so I have a blank slate. And if I wanted to save my project, it's under Save, Save Project. That's going to export a JSON file that you can save on your computer so that if you want to open it another day, so like I'm going to do now, I'll go to Open, Load Project. And so I'll just find that JSON file and I will open it, click OK. And now I have the markups I had previously made, and these are still considered markups, so I can still use the editing tools on them from the Markups tab. Note, saving projects, if you go to the screen where you're saving the project, it says it's only intended for short-term storage and retrieval, as changes to the application may cause them to fail to work as expected. So if I've already changed what layers are available in MapWashtenaw and your project file is looking for different ones, it may fail to load. Project files can save your map extent, your layer visibility, and as we've just seen, markups.